കാട്ടിലൂടെ പച്ചപ്പുകൾ ജീവൻ തേടി കരഞ്ഞിടുന്നു. പുഴകതൻ മാറിലൂടൊഴുകും കണികകൾ കരുണ തേടി വറ്റി വരളുന്നു. പുഴകൾ തൻ മാറിലൂടൊഴുകും കണികകൾ കരുണ തേടി വറ്റി വരളുന്നു. കടലും ആകാശവും മരങ്ങളും പുഴകളും പെയ്തൊഴിയാത്ത പെൺമനവുമായി പുനർജനിച്ചിടുന്നു വീണ്ടും ഈ ഭൂവിൽ. കടലും ആകാശവും മരങ്ങളും പുഴകളും പെയ്തൊഴിയാത്ത പെൺമനവുമായി പുനർജനിച്ചിടുന്നു വീണ്ടും ഈ ഭൂവിൽ. എല്ലാവർക്കും വനിതാ ദിനാശംസകൾ.
Okay, so we're going to get into our main program today. So we're all here to listen to the main presentation. So Dr. Binu Shajwood, please take the seat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. First of all, let me take this opportunity to thank a few people who made this day possible. First, I would like to thank Mr. Sabus Karia. He's the president of Malayali Association of Greater Philadelphia. Mr. Sidhu John, General Secretary, Millie Phillip, Salija John, Anis Karia, Sibi Cherian, and all the committee members. Thank you all for this kind invitation. It's my pleasure and privilege to be here celebrating the International Women's Day with you. And the topic for our discussion today is the top 3 threats of women's health. Or maybe put like an angle? Yeah, that'll be fine. Thank you, Anna. So today our topic for discussion is the top 3 threats of women's health. An agenda is to present you with some facts and simple advice for leading a healthy life. Just to brainstorm, many of us are aware of all these ladies in here. You know, some are politicians, some are great leaders, Mother Teresa and many others. Most of us are familiar with them. They differ in their very own way and they excel in their very own way. They excel in different aspects in life. So are we. We are all different. We have all different health needs. And a good balance is very important or necessary to lead a healthy life. So my goal today is to maintain optimum health and optimum health and weakness in women. Healthy People 2020, our national health goal is to attain high quality, longer lives, free of preventable disease, to achieve and improve the health of all groups, promote good health and healthy behavior in all life stages. From this slide, I just wanted to tell you, on an average, what is our lifespan? How long we, on an average, an individual lives? 77 years is our lifespan. Out of that, 65 years we have healthy living, and 12 years we have unhealthy living. And when we compare ourselves with men, women live longer than men, and they have a more unhealthy life compared to men. So if you live longer, you have more unhealthy life than men. So why is this so? Why does this happen? What are the barriers to the care of women? It's us, we ourselves. We postpone getting needed health care. We skip medical treatments or tests, don't fill our prescriptions, cut pills or skip dose of medicine, and we can have problems getting help for mental health problems. So today I'll be talking about the 3 leading causes of death in women. The number 1 cause is heart disease, number 2 is cancer, and number 3 is stroke. For the purpose of discussion, I will be talking about heart disease and stroke first because they fall under the category of cardiovascular disease, and then I'll be talking about cancer. When you look at cardiovascular disease and the prevalence among men and women, the number 1 killer compared to other major causes of disease in both men and women, in Asians as well as globally, it is cardiovascular disease. That's the number 1 killer for both men as well as in women. Men is showed in this blue bar and women is the red. But when we compare men to women have higher incidence compared to men. So it's the number 1 killer in women. And when we look at the percentage breakdown of all the cardiovascular deaths that we talked about, half of the death due to cardiovascular disease is due to coronary heart disease. That's major heart attack. So heart disease is number 1, or the silent killer, number 1 killer globally and also among Asians. 450,000 women die yearly of heart problems. Cardiovascular disease. And out of that, 50% or 250,000 is just of coronary heart disease. 1 in 5 women, if you look at your right and left, if you compare women sitting to your right and left, 1 among you 5 is going to have a heart disease. And 1 out of the 3 who have diagnosed with heart disease will die of heart problems. So you can see how prevalent it is among women. 2 out of the 3 women who have heart attack will never get back to their normal after suffering from a heart attack. So you end up with disability in life. So again, just to emphasize, heart disease is the number 1 killer in women in Asia and as well as globally. This is a study done in India, looking at Indian women. Most of us have come from India, so we know our background lies back in India, even though we are here for the past many years. This study was done by Saffola Life Study, and the heartbreaking reality among Indians or Asian women, 3 out of 5 women are at risk of developing cardiovascular disease, compared to 1 out of 5 globally. So look at the risk factors in Indians or Asians. And the main reason for a high risk is due to high BMI or obesity and low good cholesterol or HDL. And the main reason for this is low frequency of physical activity among Indian women and low consumption of whole grain products. That is our diet and our lifestyle. That is the main culprit why we are having such a high prevalence of heart disease among women and Asians. It's just a comparison slide for Asian women and American women. If you look at the slide, the first heart attack, 40% of the first heart attack in Asian women happens under the age of 45. And when you compare that to American women, it's only 3%. So where do we lie? How can we compare ourselves with Americans? And the heart disease-related death is 50% of women under age 50. So it's very young age. So most of the women have heart problems at a very, very young age. And only 1% in American women, so you see that, heart disease-related death. Maybe because more screening, more advanced technology and treatment is available in America, and women back in India or even from Indian descent, they're unaware of the disease prevalence, the risk factors, and they take it easy. So as we move forward, I'll tell you, why is it so? Again, just to emphasize poor awareness, failure to adopt a healthy lifestyle by doctors as well as public alike. So why this is a problem? Why is heart disease most prevalent in women compared to men? Because women don't show a clear clot. When you have a blockage, the symptoms are very vague. They are not very symptomatic when compared to men. They downplay their own symptoms, their lack of awareness, they underestimate the problem. And some women have this perception they are protected by estrogen. So, there was studies in the past that estrogen is the protective factor against heart disease, but it's no more true. I mean, women are no longer protected by estrogen. Under recognition of the risk, and some women or more women are actually threatened by cancer than heart disease. They think cancer is the number one killer and don't realize that heart disease or heart problems is the number one killer among women, Asian women, and in women globally. So as I mentioned earlier, 50% of the death due to cardiovascular disease is due to coronary heart disease. Coronary heart disease is the number one killer. Let me go back. Coronary heart disease is a plaque buildup in the arteries that supply blood to your heart. So when there's a plaque buildup, it compromises blood supply to your heart, and that's when you get chest pain or angina. And when the plaque breaks and blocks the heart totally, that cuts off blood supply to your heart totally, and that's when you get a heart attack. So what are the risk factors for cardiovascular disease? Number one, smoking, high blood pressure, sedentary lifestyle, which is very common among Asian women. High cholesterol diet, diabetes, obesity, stress, and type A personality. Studies have shown that the major risk factors that increase the risk of cardiovascular disease among women is inactivity, obesity, and high blood pressure compared to smoking, cholesterol, and diabetes. 39% of the women are at high risk due to inactivity or due to lack of exercise, and 33% due to obesity. And you can see this mostly in Indian women or Asian women due to their sedentary lifestyle and due to their health, their diet habits. But there's no doubt we are stronger than men, right? Anybody disagree? But I just want to say, our own biological factors goes against us. Like during puberty and pregnancy, our estrogen level, what it does is it kind of moves the fat into different parts of your body, your hips, your thighs, your breast, and it replaces accumulate fats in different parts of the body. And it increased insulin sensitivity. That's why we get the craving to eat sweets. And as a result, we put on more weight. So, and during menopause, the opposite happens and we gain weight. And so it is natural that women gain weight. But if you don't lose it, if you don't exercise, if you don't maintain our healthy habits, then it's gonna be a biggest problem with us. That's why heart disease, which is a risk factor for heart disease, is the number one cause of death in women. What are the common symptoms of heart attack? The common symptoms is chest pain and shortness of breath among women. Unlike men, women also experience some other symptoms like nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, backache, and jaw pain. When you compare these symptoms, how they exhibit in men and women, for men, these symptoms are like a mouse. It's very calm, it's a vague symptoms. Whereas for men, they think that it's like their symptoms are exaggerated. It feels like an elephant. They say the chest pain is like an elephant sitting on their chest. When you compare that for a woman, it's like nothing. Oh, it's just a slight discomfort. So women just under recognize those symptoms. They don't recognize those symptoms or don't take it easy. They think it is due to stress or heartburn or many other million reasons they have. 2.3 million Americans of American women are hospitalized each year with heart disease. Now, let me tell you again, 1 out of the 3 who are diagnosed with heart disease die of heart disease. So it's a big number, if you look at it. So what I'm trying to tell is that if you feel any of these symptoms, if you feel a slight chest pain or discomfort, or you have an upper body pain, discomfort in your arm, back, neck, jaw, stomach, shortness of breath, nausea, lightheadedness, or cold sweat, please call 911 and get help soon. That will save your life. Moving on to our next topic is stroke, which is the third leading cause of death in female. Every year when we compare ourselves to men, 55,000 more women have a stroke, more stroke in women than men. And in US, every 45 seconds, one person or one woman have a stroke. Of every 5 deaths that occurs due to stroke, it is 2 men and 3 women. So women are higher in number when they have a stroke and then they die of stroke. It is a leading cause of disability in US. And as you know, stroke is due to the blood flow cut off to the brain, or it is due to the rupture of blood vessels in the brain. Like heart attack is due to the cutoff of blood supply to your heart, and stroke is due to the cutoff blood supply to your brain. Any questions so far? So what are the common symptoms of stroke? Sudden numbness or weakness of your face or arm, leg, sudden confusion, trouble in speaking, understanding, trouble seeing, trouble walking, feeling dizzy, loss of balance, sudden or severe headache with no known cause. And the unique symptoms in women is loss of consciousness, general weakness, agitation, hallucination, nausea, vomiting, pain, seizures, and hiccups. If we have constant hiccups, if continuous hiccups, that could be a sign of stroke in women. So we just be aware of these signs and symptoms. So are you at risk? How do you know if you're at risk? As women from Asian descent, we're definitely at risk. So what are general risk factors? Family history, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, smoking, lack of exercise, physical inactivity, depression, and stress, and overweight. As a woman, our unique risk factors is taking birth control pills, being pregnant, use of hormone replacement therapy, and suffering from migraine headaches. The risk factors that we have no control on is our age, gender, being a woman itself, hereditary, and previous medical conditions. So when you compare men and women, the prevalence of heart disease increase as we get older. The blue bar is men and red bar is women. As we get older, the risk of getting heart disease in both men and women increase, as well as the risk of getting a stroke also increases in both men and women. But when you compare between man and male and female, female have a higher risk of developing heart disease compared to men, whereas men has a higher risk of developing stroke compared to women. So it's very important to understand stroke. Why is it so important? Because we have only 3 hours from when we first spot our symptoms to get treatment to prevent damage to your brain and prevent long-term disability. So as soon as you understand that you feel that you're having a stroke symptom, as soon as you spot a stroke symptom, act fast. The acronym FAST stands for face droop, arm weakness, speech difficulty. If you experience any of this, make sure you call 911. Tell them, I think I'm having a stroke, take me to the nearest stroke center. Because like I said, it's very crucial that you get treatment within the first 3 hours so that you can prevent damage to your brain and prevent from having long-term disability. In women, we can have the stroke prevention for women is women with migraine. It is recommended that they stop smoking. Women who are pregnant, make sure you get your blood pressure monitored before and do it after pregnancy. If you're over 75, the risk factor for stroke is irregular heartbeat or atrial fibrillation. So make sure you get screened for that, old elderly women. And before starting any birth control pills among young women, make sure you have your blood pressure screened. And if you have any concerns, that if you think you have any signs and symptoms of stroke, please get help with your doctor. Please make sure you get help. The current guidelines for cardiovascular disease prevention in women came up with the acronym of ALOHA. A stands for to assess and stratify the risk of cardiovascular disease in women, lifestyle changes, other cardiovascular disease interventions like if you have high blood pressure, diabetes, or lipids, abnormal cholesterol, make sure you get that treated. High priority for interventions in high-risk patients. There's a general feeling that women don't get treatment at the earliest for their heart problems because it is diagnosed late, and then like the old school, there's a belief that they are protected by estrogen, so their heart symptoms are not related to the heart problems, but it's just due to stress or acid reflux, so the symptoms are not recognized early. And then there's a general notion that women are not agreeable for intervention early in their life. So make sure the current guidelines, the prevention guidelines is to provide highest priority for interventions in high-risk patients and avoid initiating therapies that has been shown to lack benefit or outweigh the risk benefits. So what can we do? We know that we are at high risk. We know that how our lifestyle is or how our diet is like. So as an individual, as an Asian woman, what is our responsibility? We need to take charge of our life. We need to take control of our life. We need to take action to reduce our cardiovascular disease risk. We need to be physically active, quit smoking, eat healthy, maintain a normal weight, know our numbers. Know our numbers means numbers that are important, that is related to cardiovascular risk, cholesterol, our blood pressure, our glucose level. So it's important that we know our numbers, get our routine physical exams and screening, know our family history, because that plays a very important role. If one of our family members have heart disease, it is more likely that we will have heart problems too. Be good to yourself. Know your numbers, as I was talking earlier. Your cholesterol, your total cholesterol should be less than 200. LDL is your bad cholesterol, should be less than 100. And your good cholesterol should be greater than 50. Most Indians or Asians, our good cholesterol is very, very low. Is very low. That put us at high risk for heart disease only because of our sedentary lifestyle and diet. Make sure our blood pressure is well controlled. The normally should be less than 120/80. And screen yourself. What is your waistline like? Is it greater than 35 inches? Your triglycerides. As Asians, our triglycerides tend to be high because our diet is rich in carbs, mainly rice, that increase our triglycerides. Is it greater than 150? Your gut cholesterol, is it less than 150? Your blood pressure is high, if your glucose is high, that puts you under the metabolic syndrome, which is a very high risk factor for cardiovascular disease. Any questions? So what can we do? Like I've been talking about lifestyle changes, diet changes, what can we do? I would like you guys to pick any activity that you like. Be active, pick something that you love to do and get moving. Aim for 30 minutes of activities, moderate intensity activities every day of the week. Or if you want to lose weight, make sure you do 60 to 90 minutes of moderate intensity physical activity almost every day. Studies have shown that walking is good as any other physical exercise in reducing the risk for heart disease. So if you don't want to go to the gym, don't want to do weightlifting or anything, just walk. Walk 30 minutes a day. Just walk around, at home, at work, just instead of taking the elevator, take the steps. Just walk around instead of moving your chair, rolling your chair to grab something. Get up and walk. Just every minute adds, every minute you walk adds to it. You don't have to do 30 minutes in a stretch. You can break it down. You can break it down. So do your physical, at least be active. This slide is very important, and it's like an eye-opener to me when I was putting these slides together. Just wanted to bring it to your attention. As we get older, we lose 5 pounds of our muscles and add 10 pounds of fat every 10 years. I'm just repeating it again. As we get older, we lose 5 pounds of muscles and add 10 pounds of fat every 10 years. And when we lose half pounds of muscle, it could cause weight gain for almost 3 pounds in every year. So when we are losing muscle, adding fat, we are gaining weight. So if in 10 years we'll gain 25 pounds, 20 years we'll gain 50 pounds, and 30 years we'll gain 75 pounds. So as we get older, our good muscle tissue, we're losing our good muscles and we are accumulating fat. And the more fat we have in our body, the more we are at risk for developing heart disease. So screening is very important, just to make sure you have screen yourself for body mass index and waist circumference. Lifestyle changes also include healthy diet. Focus more on fruits, vegetables, grains, go lean with proteins. It is important to find a balance between food and physical activity. I just put this slide in here. I know it's a busy slide, just to show you what is good and bad, what should we include in our diet and what we should avoid. So fat to choose, we can use olive oil, canola oil for cooking, and avoid fat, gravy, and non-dairy grains, butter. And the grains that we did choose is whole grain wheat, whole wheat bread, high fiber cereal, oatmeal, brown rice instead of white rice, ground flaxseed. And the grains that need to avoid or limit is the white refined flour or white bread, muffins, quick breads, cakes, pies, egg noodles, buttered popcorns, high-fat crackers. All these we need to avoid from our diet. And the proteins that we need to choose is low-fat dairy products like skim milk, not regular milk. We need to avoid regular milk. Egg whites instead of egg yolks. Fish, skinless poultry, legumes, soybeans, they're all good. Spare ribs, not good at all. Cold cuts, hot dogs, sausages, bacon, fried foods, not good for our health diet. Pick low salt items compared to high salt. High salt is our table salt. Our people who live on canned soups, canned diet, cold meats, they're all high in salt. So go cook daily, cook fresh, include more vegetables, more fruits in your diet. Substitute your salt, use more herbs and spices, and don't use or use less of the canned food. Any questions on the cardiovascular disease or risk factors? So moving on, cancer, which is the number 2, second leading cause of death in women. Among the cancer, 3 leading cancer deaths, the number 1 is lung cancer, number 2 is breast cancer, number 3 is colorectal cancer. Lung cancer is due to the uncontrolled growth of cells in either one lung or both lungs. 70,000 women die annually because of lung cancer, and 79% of women with lung cancer is due to smoking. Even if you're not smoking, you could be exposed to secondhand smoking, people who are smoking around you. So that will also increase your risk for lung cancer. 1 out of the 4 cancer that is diagnosed, 1 out of the 4 cancer that is diagnosed in women is lung cancer. And 1 out of the newly diagnosed cancer among women, 1 out of 8 newly diagnosed cancers among women is lung cancer. More Americans die from lung cancer than breast, prostate, and colorectal cancer together. And it occurs at a very young age, under 50 years of old. So we are all at risk for lung cancer. So the risk factors include tobacco smoking, occupational chemicals, asbestos, radon, hereditary, age, over 65. As women, we use a lot of nail polish removers. The acetone in the nail polish remover is also a risk factor for lung cancer. Nicotine from pesticides, carbon monoxide from car exhaust, tar from the roads, and ammonia from cleaning products, radon from the radioactive gas. These are all the risk factors, and smoking is the number 1. risk factor.